Hello viewers, welcome back to Daily Retro. Today we've got episode 8 of Guide to Games Rooms and we have Sean from PompeyGamesRoom. So hello Sean.
Hello Dale, hello YouTube. Thanks very much for inviting me.
That's no worries. I'm really looking forward to having you on. You've got an incredible room and I look forward to sharing it with other people.
Great stuff, great stuff. I see you've got a similar view to me in the background. You say a room, it's pretty much just a corner of my games room. So, this is it.
It's more than a lot of people have, so yeah, I wouldn't knock it down a notch.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right, so we'll jump straight into our questions. It's the same questions for everyone. So question number 1 is, when did your games room first appear?
So, we had a brief chat off camera. I've been on YouTube like 11 years, so it's taken many different forms. It's started off life as my first ever video, which is the most cringeworthy thing on the internet of me. Was speaking with hideous coloured wallpaper behind me and like nothing on there but this really floral wallpaper. And then it went to one of these Billy bookcases at my parents' house after that. Good on it. It went to one of these Billy bookcases, and I had literally everything on that. And then the shelves were bowing and everything like that. Then my wife and I got our first house, and I had some shelves on the wall. And then we moved to our sort of forever home, as you want to call it, or something like that. We're probably never going to move from this home, and we thought, well, you know what, I wanted to do a bit of work at the house we moved in, so this whole area here was basically not insulated. It wasn't sort of a habitable part of the house. It was basically trying to put all the stuff in that I draw all day to, you know, give to clients for like building drawings. I tried to implement all the stuff I've drawn so I could lie on site and say, well, I've actually done this myself, you know, cut a window and sort of put all the structural stuff in and all the insulation, so I could sound a bit more knowledgeable on site. About 5% more knowledgeable, should we say. And then, yeah, I always had an idea that I wanted to convert this space to an office, obviously with COVID and things like that, but I was sort of not freelance, but I was sort of working self-employed already when the pandemic hit. So I'd already gotten I needed an office, and this is sort of a dual function really. So this behind me is my YouTube set. When I first started YouTube in here, I had the camera set up on here on about 5 or 6 different Mega Drive games, filming there. But then I missed off like this section of the video. This section, I used to have a Trinitron here, which is actually in the loft space now, because my daughter comes in and she watches stuff sometimes when the little one's having a nap inside. So we had to get a TV that I could actually hook the Xbox up to, so she could watch iPlayer and stuff, which the Trinitron it takes up so much room. Like literally, it was huge on this. So yeah, I mean, the sort of camera angle now, it's good because it's like a wider. I've got all this behind me now, and I've got like a corner thing going on. And I think it's probably for me personally, it's best use of the space. So it's been in this probably, I'd say, for about a year now, 18 months, about like this. So I want to say anyway.
Cool, so that leads us on to our second question. So how long did the current room take to build? Is it a slow evolution, or is it quite a quick process when you moved in?
Yeah, being sort of from the architecture background, obviously I'd done 25 different versions of this house, sort of drawn it up 25 different times. So I knew what this space was going to be, although when I actually converted it, I made it smaller out of pure laziness, really. So it was going to be so much more difficult to go the extra metre that I was originally going to go. So yeah, I sort of had an idea of what I wanted to do, and sort of I've watched a few of these episodes, and everyone always mentions the Kallax and the Billy bookcases, and it's always the same things. Which my wife and I are actually trying to find some more Kallax units at the moment. And to be honest, I could sell the ones I've got in here and probably pay for the extension we want to build in our house at the moment. They are like gold dust. They're so expensive to buy on Marketplace and stuff. It's like nearly cheaper to actually buy them brand new. But yeah, I mean, I sort of had all the measurements for everything I wanted to put in here, and I've got a set of consoles that I play religiously. So I sort of knew what storage I needed, what hookups I needed, and power, the power requirements, although I definitely underdid the power sockets in this room, definitely the USB ones, which I know is a question down the line, so I'll touch on that again there. But yeah, it's actually how I envisaged it, sort of like I'm sitting here now and it's probably, I'd say about 85-90% of how I planned it to be. It's never as per the drawings, so
yeah, it's always close, but it's never
always close. It's artistic license, so it's yeah, so it's always the way.
Awesome. So question number 3 is there an inspiration behind actually having the games room or games corner, as you call it? It come from other people in real life or from YouTube? I know you've been on YouTube a while, so probably from that, I guess.
Yeah, a bit of everything, really. I mean, I've touched on it in a lot of videos that my channel started through pure nostalgia. So like, the inspiration really came from me wanting to record the memories that I could look at down the line and my children could look at down the line. I've said it several times, my channel's sort of like a time machine for me, really. Like to go back and see what I was doing in 2014 or something like that. And I really, really like the idea that, I mean, everyone on YouTube is so impressionable. I don't know if I know a few people have touched on this, but it's really dangerous watching YouTube between, I find, 9 and 11 at night, because as soon as you finish watching videos, you're straight on eBay, and late night eBaying is the worst. You just get stuff that turns up. I mean, perfect example, this file here, this was from when I was a kid, and I found it on eBay, and I don't even know what I paid for it, but God knows, it's probably about like 20 quid or something. But it's like, that's what I mean, like YouTube, you take something from everyone, really, but I think a lot of it really was I wanted somewhere to be surrounded by nostalgic memories and stuff like that. So I think it came from a mix, really, from sort of experiences in life and also watching so many YouTubers. I mean, I couldn't even start really where to start. I mean, one YouTuber, as he says that, he thinks of one that comes to mind straight away. So there's a guy, he's not massive over in the UK, but a guy called Canadian Retro. He's a really, really lovely guy. And I think he's based in Vancouver, but I always loved the way he had like literally just shelves of stuff in the background. And the thing is that I think when he started, he didn't have that big a collection. And you sort of saw that collection grow, and all the games that he ever showed, he would always have a story behind it. And that's what I love about all this stuff here. Like, I don't really keep stuff that isn't going to be played, hence when we did Swap Shop, I had such a big, I've probably kept in some bundles, I probably kept about 3 or 4 items out of about sort of 30 games that turned up. But it's that's just how it works. Sometimes you can just buy stuff and then just shove it on the shelf. Like one of the guys, I think it might have been I forget the name of the guy, but a few episodes ago, it was the Ink Northerner, wasn't it? A couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I think he touched on it, that he said, originally you just used to buy stuff to put on the shelves to fill the space, and we've all been there and done that. And that's sort of the whole eBay thing, isn't it? Late night eBaying again. But yeah, I would say a bit of everything, really. There's a lot of channels that stick out in my mind, but I'd say like YouTube's so impressionable, isn't it? You see something and you want to buy it even though you've got no interest in that system. It's yeah, but I suppose that's probably the answer in a roundabout, long-winded way.
Yeah, it's nice you only sort of collect stuff that's nostalgic to yourself and you actually want to play.
Yeah.
That's like I say, there are people about that sort of just collect stuff for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And I just end up selling the stuff that I think I'm going to play and never do.
Yeah, I touched on that again down the line in one of your later questions, but I used to meet up quite regularly with a YouTuber. I won't name him; he's not even on here anymore. But he used to be Portsmouth based. I used to meet up with him every now and again, and he would buy stuff, and he would even say, "I've literally bought it to put in a pickup video," and I was like, "You just think that's such a waste of money and space." And also the games that you would pick up, they would be like really, really titles that people have thrown in with a console because they don't want it. and you think, well, you're not even going to be able to sell it yourself. So it's like you're really screwed. It's just the way it is, I suppose. Some people don't, I don't think they think ahead like that, do they? But I suppose it's the way it is. And everyone's got a different objective and a different goal for how they make a collection. So, which is what makes YouTube so good, I suppose. It's
it's nice just to pick and choose what you want for your games room.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely, totally agree.
Cool. So this is probably going to be a difficult one for yourself, or maybe not difficult. But what's your favourite item or feature of your games room?
So I've got a few actually. When I've been watching the other episodes back, I did, and you might have seen me. You probably cut off the screen there, but I was just looking around because I made a list somewhere, and now I can't remember where I put it. So I'm going to have to go off the top of my head. I've got a fair few things actually that I've sort of, I've just gathered over the years, and I was quite lucky actually. I managed to pick stuff up just like with the 11 years I've been on here. I was probably collecting about 2 or 3 years before that, because when I started, I had a fairly decent collection, but it wasn't massive. I mean, this is sort of what I want it to be now. But I think the first one, I'm going to have to do it for 2 cameras here, because hence why I keep looking each way. My webcam is due to fail any time now. So I've set my iPhone up, which I'm recording myself on as well. So I'm sort of flipping between. So I'll do it for the webcam first, but it's this thing here, the multi-mega. That's one of my favourite things, which is actually set up down here. It's got Sonic 3 in it at the moment. I absolutely love this thing. I think this is probably one of my, you can also wear it on your belt buckle to be a CD player, which is really stylish. So, but God knows how many batteries it takes. A fair few, I'd think. So I got this probably, I want to say probably about 6 years ago. I think I paid 270 quid for it, and it came boxed, obviously with the box there. And recently, my first pickup video in the office when I'd done it, or games room, I managed to pick a manual up in a bundle and then sold the other one on, and then so that's basically fully boxed now, that multi-mega, and it's probably cost me about 270 quid. And like nowadays, I've seen them sell like commonly for about 700, and it's like they are brilliant consoles though. They are so good, and it's I think that's really cool. Next thing for me personally, I would say is probably the Sonic the Hedgehog sign. So I'm doing that for the webcam again, but let's do it for the iPhone. There we go. The Sonic sign. That's really nostalgic for me. I remember seeing that in and around Portsmouth. I mean, I did its own video to sort of say why I picked it up, but I found this one in America, and it cost me more in the imports getting it than that actually cost to buy. So that's when you know something's really meaning something to you. But yeah, it's great. I've always wanted to get one. It's funny, I didn't see them for about 10 years on eBay. And then all of a sudden they just seem to, it's like almost someone's found the shipment somewhere that never sold, because that thing was like brand new when it turned up. It was in such good condition. And it's great. It is good. I was going to have it wired up, especially by one of my electrician friends, but then I did a bit more reading, and actually the Super Nintendo power supply works for it really well. So I've just got that hooked in, so it's all done. And the last thing, there's 2 things actually. Probably my Mega Drive collection, because all those games up there are sort of games that they're big games for me and stuff like that. I've managed to pick a lot of those up, either for free doing pickup videos, probably in the last 2 years, because I just hate buying games nowadays. So I buy the bundles and keep the games I want, so on the rest. But I got very lucky, probably, I would say, when I started my channel off about 2-3 years before, sort of 2013, I picked up an awful lot of Mega Drive stuff, and it was just as the prices were creeping up. So a fair few of your YouTubers have said that as well, because the other guy I watched, he was talking about his Master System collection, and he sold it off 3 times. It's like, and he's like, but the 3rd time he's buying it back, it's really, really expensive, and you like really don't want to buy it back again. So, but the last thing, I think probably one of the most important things for me personally is the sign. But I also reboxed a lot of my my wife's SNES games. She had like car onlys and things like that. Her original consoles in that box. I just realised I knocked that watch off at the beginning, didn't I? So say like Mario is missing. What other ones? We've got Mario All-Stars, Super Mario World, Donkey Kong, and there's one behind which I forget what it is, but it's so I managed to rebox all those. They're quite important to me, because it's like it's games with a story and games with a past, which is, you know, I can imagine my wife playing those when she was a kid, sort of sitting there the same way as I did with Sonic the Hedgehog and things. So yeah, I've got a fair few things, but I would say probably me personally, the sign is the big thing for me because it just screams nostalgia, really.
Yeah,
I can
it's something I've never seen on any other games here as well. I mean, I can't say I've seen another.
Yeah, neither did I, and that's the thing. I thought, was that like a custom sign they made or something? I never ever knew. But like I said, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, there's 2 on eBay as we speak now, but they're like, I think they're about 300 or 400 quid each. But I didn't pay that. That was pretty much what I paid in total with the taxes and the imports and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's 2 in Holland at the moment. I think that are sort of about 200 quid as we record this, sort of 30th of April. You know, it's, you know, they're what they are really. But yeah, proper bit of gaming past. That really reminds me of you know, like Sega World when we used to go there and things like that. Like there was a big Sega World for us in Bournemouth. So we used to go there quite a lot, and you used to see like neon signs all over the place there. It was, but yeah, just I can sort of, that just screams nostalgia because I can remember walking towards the shop where that was, and yeah, it just blew me away every time I saw it. It was like so, even back then, it felt so sort of cool and so different. But yeah, so long-winded again. I'd probably say the sign.
Awesome. Yeah.
Have you ever seen my videos, Dale? They're not short.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
My wife generally walks off after about 15 minutes, and I just sit there watching them.
yeah. I don't blame you. I wish I could do that, but I've got to record it. So it's yeah, it's one of the things that I'm doing it. I'm going off on a tangent. You carry on, Dale. Sorry.
It's all good. We love tangents. Right. So question 5 is, what is the most expensive item in your games room? I'm gonna guess it's probably one of the monitors you've got, but I could be wrong.
No, you'd be very, very mistaken. Those monitors are literally no, they're not very expensive. I'd probably say multi-mega again. It's yeah, it's pretty, like I said, the prices on those have shot up, but yeah, I'm trying to think anything else. I mean, obviously the WWE title, solid gold. So you know that's worth. Yeah, no, that isn't. No, I'd probably say the multi-mega. The multi-mega is sort of the yeah, probably the most costly item. Some of the box sets are pretty, like not the virtual racing one, but the Toy Story one's pretty expensive. Sorry, I'm putting here on the webcam,
yeah.
But it's that one there. On the phone. So the Toy Story box set behind me, which is actually what I bought for my daughter when she gets older. I'm going to give it to her maybe for like a 16th present or something, just because she loves Toy Story. And it's sort of a connection between my interest and my wife's interest. We both love the retro games. Our passion and our past, we want to be able to give her something to sort of either keep hold of or do what she wants with. But yeah, I've just got to think of something to get for my 1-year-old son, because I don't know what he's into at all. But yeah, some of these box sets are actually worth quite a lot now, so I don't know, probably they're all in pretty good condition as well.
I was going to say, all the photos you sent me, everything looks very, very, very good condition.
I mean, the virtual racing one literally looks like it's never ever been used. When I got the pickup video for it, it was like everything was like immaculately sealed inside. And it's like even the controllers still had like the actual proper bags on them, and they just felt, you know, when you feel a new controller, you just think, God, this has never been used.
Yeah.
You know? So I got really lucky with that, and I won that in an auction. I remember exactly how much I paid for it. I paid £210 for it, and it came with about 7 other games. And again, I sold the games off, and I think that cost me about 30 quid. So it's like, it just can't lose at that sort of doing deals like that. So yeah, and that's part of it for me. I quite like building a collection for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy doing that. So,
yeah, it's satisfying. Although I'm a bit ashamed to say I haven't played Toy Story on Mega Drive. Is it a good game?
Yeah, it's really good. I think it plays better on the SNES from memory. Funnily enough, I only ever played it on the SNES back in the day. So, yeah, it's a bit like Aladdin. I think Aladdin on the SNES and the Mega Drive, there's massive differences there. In fact, I think there's some different levels on the SNES one, I seem to recall, but that was a long time ago I sort of played that. But yeah, it's a really good game, actually, really good.
Awesome. I'll have to get around to that at some point. Cool. So, question number 6. I know you mentioned you've got like consoles that are sort of close to your heart already set up, but what do you play most in your games room?
It does vary. I don't know about yourself. Do you sort of go through stages where you just fancy playing a certain genre, sort of a certain age console?
Yeah, I will just sort of pick a game from any era and just go through till I complete it, and it'll take a while sometimes. But yeah. I won't usually switch console sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm very much like that, because to be honest, when we talking of that WWE title, when we did that Royal Rumble video, I played a lot of wrestling games on the PS2, and I forgot how good they are. They're so good. So in fact, I know it's probably still in there because I haven't turned it on recently. But we are recording for the SummerSlam video at the moment, so it's probably in there. So we've been playing quite a lot of SmackDown 2006, SmackDown versus Raw 2006, Sonic 3, which was in the multi-mega that I took out a minute ago. I had not really played it religiously, but I mean, it's a game one of the Sonic games I've never completed, so I've been playing that a little bit. N64 gets a little bit of love. I would say at the moment, probably the PS2 is getting a lot of love, and the PS3. I recently bought a backward compatible PS3,
Nice.
and it's been worth its weight in gold. I absolutely love that thing.
Yeah, with the fat PS3s, I found out recently, the Gen 1 PS3s, the fat ones, especially the backward compatibility ones, they're not the most reliable of console. Let's just put it that way.
They're not.
But if you need him, I actually know a really good modder who repairs stuff as well. It's called Will's Console Modifications.
You spoke about it in one of your other videos about the Mega Drive.
Yeah, he's a whiz kid. He just repairs anything, and it takes him like half a day to do anything.
Brilliant. God, you would love to be that. You would love to have that ability, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd just love to be able to do that. I literally would not know where to start. I'm rubbish at soldering, rubbish at anything. In fact, Goodwin's Place is repairing 2 PlayStation 3s for me at the moment, my original and my business partner's PS3. so he's repairing 2 PS3s for me at the moment, and one of them is the old fat model, and one of them is the like slidey tray thing, so one of the later gen ones.
Oh right, okay.
But they're both software issues, I think. But yeah, it's funny how it goes, isn't it? But I might have to check your person out, definitely.
Yeah, and just going back to the PS2 side of things, I was also really into SmackDown versus Raw on PS2. That game, like multiplayer, is just absolute chaos.
It really is. Those retro wrestling games, I always say the one reason I love the N64 is for 2 reasons. It's for GoldenEye and the wrestling games. The wrestling games on the N64 are just absolutely brilliant. I know Time Warp James always supports me whenever I put a comment on that. So we both absolutely love No Mercy. That game is just, I can't get it out. It's too sandwiched too much in there. But man, the wrestling games on the N64 are like second to none. They haven't aged very well, but I don't think GoldenEye's aged very well at all, is it? So let's be honest. But
no, still fun though.
Nostalgic memories. So I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So we'll move on to question number 7. Has there been any challenges or problems when you first built your games room, or is there still any sort of unsolved issues?
So this thing here was never the forever games room office. We're planning to do a big extension the next sort of 2-3 years, in which I'm going to get a proper sort of masonry built games room, part of the house and things like that. So this just had to make do for a little while. But there's a few things, I think I touched on it before we started recording, that I only got USB cables in my plug sockets behind my monitor, which is like, it's a brilliant place because I sit all day at this desk drawing and things like that. And it's great, so I can charge my phone, things like that. But my laptop is currently set up on a big A1 plotter, which is literally behind. And that is perfect if I want to set the camera up there, and it's all USB. And it's like, every time I do it, I have to remember to bring the little iPhone chargers out, which I can never find. So yeah, I probably should have got more USB plug sockets in here, and plug sockets, I'll be honest with that. And I probably should, I'm now hardwired in here with internet connection. before I was doing wireless, and that was a killer. It was like, it just didn't reach. We tried everything. We tried the discs, we tried those little BT extender discs, we tried the little plug-in boosters, we tried everything. But eventually we just bit the bullet, and my friend ran a cable for me. But so I'd say just little things really, and also the camera angle. I think Stu 2C UK said the same recently. That trying to find somewhere with the light, downlighters are not your friend. When you're trying to show games and the glare and stuff that comes off of them, it's really difficult. So it's like, but until you set a space up, it's really difficult to know exactly if it's, you know, if it's going to work, and you would never ever get something unless you had lighting experts come in, a proper power, a proper sort of electrical layout detailed, lighting levels, all that. You're never going to get it perfect, and this is what YouTube's great for, isn't it? You always work with what you got. So although I say that, the games room that I'm planning, sort of office, sorry, I hate calling it a games room, in the extension is going to be, I've got a few really different ideas. I've got some ideas that I want to put in, and you know, a bit different from most games rooms, but that's because, like, being on sites and stuff, I've seen things and like, that's a really good idea, I've never thought of doing that. And like, so I want to implement a few, like my room is going to be a part of the extension that probably my wife won't take people into because it's a bit quirky and probably not everyone's taste. Sort of like Lego walls and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, I don't know. So I'd say probably this area is as good as it can be for me personally. I could have done possibly, like I said earlier, I was due to go an extra meter into the next door area, but pure laziness, the boards were cut at a certain length for the floor and I couldn't be bothered to buy another load, so I was like, oh, I'll just make it this size. So hindsight's a wonderful thing there, isn't it? But yeah,
you always learn loads when you're making a room.
Man, crazy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the two things really would be the camera angle and probably the power. I'd say probably that's the two regrets I got. I'm not really much of a techie, so like, I don't really know about all these boosters. In fact, I learn a lot from your channel. So all your boosters and all your sort of one connector cables, I've actually taken a bit of inspiration from that. So eventually down the line, I will sort of, because I can't just turn a system on and it comes on the TV. I have to move cables around and stuff. Yeah. I obviously didn't think far enough ahead of that. So
that's kind of you to say. On the aspect of the Wi-Fi, it's a weird one because they sell BT and all these ISPs. They sell these booster kits and stuff, and literally, I've never seen someone have a good word to say about any of them because they are just awful. Yeah. But the way I work around it, because we've got a garden room that's like obviously in the garden, and I wanted to get Wi-Fi out there just so we can have Wi-Fi on our deck mainly, because if you use 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which is the faster Wi-Fi, it just wouldn't reach because 5 gigahertz doesn't quite reach as far as 2.4, which is slower. Mm-hmm. But I found out the best way to actually extend Wi-Fi is just literally go into PC World and buy the cheapest like TP-Link router, not an extender, because literally all routers nowadays they have like 3 different run modes. So when you initially plug them in, they'll say, do you want me to be a modem router? Do you want me to be just a modem, or do you want me to be a Wi-Fi extender? And obviously I chose the extender. So basically all of that box, all it is doing is just extending the signal. It doesn't give IPs out. It hasn't got a DNS, a DHCP server in it, and yeah, I've had that running for literally over a year at a time. I've never had to reset it.
Wow.
That's how reliable it is.
That's really good, because like you said, no one has a good word to say. Those discs were a nightmare. we set them up, and for about 2 weeks they worked probably at about 70% adequacy. And then after that, you just literally, it would drop out all the time, like literally, and just think these things weren't cheap. They're like 200 something quid, like for a box of 5. You just think, God, it's just really so. And whenever I do surveys, you see people sort of like up in the loft, and they've got these discs, and like, oh God, and they're always hardwired. You think you don't even use the discs; they're just there. Like it is weird, but internet's a funny thing. Sometimes you can get full signal out here on your phone. Sometimes you get 1 bar or whatever. It's so inconsistent.
It's crazy because why are companies advertising all these boosters and stuff if you could just buy a cheap router and it'll sort of do the same? They do the same thing and more reliably.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you mean. It is funny, but that's a power of advertising, I suppose, isn't it? It's the power of advertising. So
yeah, definitely. But I can't recommend that enough to people who want to extend their Wi-Fi. But like you say, it is nicer to have wired Ethernet because Wi-Fi's. I've always been taught in my sort of IT apprenticeship that Wi-Fi, the speeds go up and down; they're never constant.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously Ethernet is constant speed. So.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. It's hardwired's definitely, it's been more beneficial to me now, I'd say.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the outlay.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So, penultimate question for yourself: are there any upcoming changes to your room? So you mentioned you're going to be sort of completely redoing the room at some point. When's that going to be? Is it soon or?
I'd say probably we're going to try and do the extension probably over the next 2 to 3 years, but more than likely probably 2 years. In which case, so this room, I mean, it'll be the same stuff, probably just displayed differently. It's not going to be much bigger, but it'll just be a sort of a more friendly sort of like stretch of a wall that you can get the old Billy bookcases put on. So I'd say probably that's the only change that's going to occur, really. Like I said earlier, I think I've got how I want my YouTube now to be shot and sort of, recorded. I think I've got it down to a T now where I want to be. So I think this is probably going to stay probably at least for another year. I mean, say that, come back next video and everything's changed again. So it's just always the way. But only takes one more Mega Drive box set that takes my fancy. And then the Mega Drive 1 up there at the moment is hanging on by the skin of its teeth. It's going to be taken over by another box set soon. I know it is. And then it will get relegated down to this bottom shelf, which is where you can see all the activator and stuff like that on the webcam. So all of the bits and bobs, the odd boxes go down there. So but everything else gets put on its own shelf. So I'd probably say it's going to stay the same for the foreseeable, I'd say.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing the changes in a couple of years' time then. If you do need a hand in like making all the consoles seamless, then let me know.
I will be taking you up on that, Dale. Just let you know.
It can't be as bad as my family, I'm just a family IT support guy. So
you just like constantly take questions during Sunday lunch and things like that.
Oh God! Sometimes I just despair because I like check my emails and my grandpa sent me an email like, Dale, how do I use Samsung Photo Cloud? And I'm like, well, I don't know.
How do I call eBay to list something? Yeah, I know. My wife is the same. My wife's parents live over the road from us, so even before we lived so close to them, and whenever we came up with the grandchildren, like, lovely visit. Oh, now that you're here, would you mind? It's like, and it's the most simple thing usually, but yeah, it's the way it is, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, it is funny, but yeah, can't be as bad as that. Right, so last question for yourself, mate. Are there any tips you would give people watching this video that, any sort of tips for people who are building a brand new games room?
Well, my one tip, and again, I wrote it down this list. I came up with an absolute gem. It was no, I didn't. No, it was just a few notes. So I'll try and go off the top of my head. The one thing I found with having several different games rooms, so like I said, when I first started, I had like a bookshelf, then I had the actual shelves on the wall, and now I've got this, is that for me personally, build your games room storage for the collection that you want to have rather than just for content for YouTube. It's so easy just to go out and, like I said, all this stuff on my shelves here is stuff that I've got an interest in, and like it's perfect example on Swap Shop. Like I sold off so much stuff, and it's stuff that I've got no interest in. Like, you know, I'll just pick one straight off the thing here, and I bet it's something I like. No, like Mirror's Edge, no interest in that. But the games that came with the bundle, I had interest in, so they'll go on in the collection. If you just constantly buy stuff, you're just going to take up so much room, and when you eventually decide to sell it one day, you're going to have this huge gap where everything was. And I've been there, I've done it, and it is a little bit depressing when you sell it, because you think, oh god, you know, I've got a massive gap there now, so you have to find something else for it, and then that usually means you buy something else, or you start moving into other areas of the house, or, you know, so setting a console up downstairs, or, you know, things like that. So I think the passion that I've always had is for the Mega Drive and gaming memories on the SNES and N64 and Saturn, and I've always been pretty good on that. I've never gone out, and although I say that, I did buy GX 4000 probably about 8 years ago and then sold it like literally within about 3 weeks. Yeah, I've always tried to stick to stuff that I know. So like if there's ever a console that I want to try and get into, like I've recently bought an Xbox 360. I'm not a big Xbox fan, even though I was gifted this one for some private work I did for someone, one of my friends. I use it, but I would never have gone out and bought one. But I've recently bought one. It's a collection I've never played the Halo series of games. I've never done, you know, some of their exclusives. So I want to get into that and try to play it. So I'd probably find a space on the shelves, but it'd be quite low down until I know I really want to collect for it, and then it would get its own place. But so I think my advice would definitely be that, you know, don't just, I wouldn't base the whole space. Like, this isn't a big room, but it's big enough for the collection that I want. So I'm never going to have to worry about, say, like having a whole first floor or something like that with 2 rooms, or, you know, nothing against that. People want to do that and put multiple consoles and stuff like that in there. But I think, I don't know if you're the same, but when you're at work, sometimes you need a bit of inspiration and stuff like that. And I think my job, well, I'm constantly having to think about areas and rooms and, you know, how it's going to feel with this window open and these lights on. You have to feel about how people are going to feel within an area that we sort of sell to clients as sort of extensions and new builds. I find all this stuff really inspiring around me. So I quite like having this. When I come in, I think I heard one of your other guests say that the first thing they see when they come in was their wall of PS3 or PS2. I can't remember who that was. So I watched a lot of these videos late at night with my son sometimes when he wakes up. So I don't usually, it's like you're watching it barely awake sometimes. So I have watched all your episodes, but it's trying to sort of pinpoint exactly who said what is a bit difficult. But like, you're quite happy with this. So like, you come in and straight away you see, I never not smile when I come in here. I could have the worst sort of, you know, I've just had a really bad phone call with a client or something. Not that ever happens, but well, it sometimes, you know, but you look up and you think, you know, I'm surrounded by all these memories and stuff, and you think and the beauty is having, I don't know if you're the same, because yours is your office as well, isn't it? Your games room is your office as well, sort of semi-office.
Yeah, my wife mainly uses it to work from home, and obviously I'm using it now to record these episodes. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I find this area quite good because you know, it's a dual space for me. So whenever I do sort of Zoom meetings, my camera's facing from my monitor this way. So behind here, I've got you'll see on the pictures that I sent through, I've got like a Nigel Mansell and Senna picture and a Wayne Gretzky picture that I put up. And that's my professional view. Although Alan Partridge, GTA, does sometimes sneak into view. But it's very easy to crop that. But yeah, so I've got that as my dual view that goes that way for work meetings, and I've got this my YouTube view. So it's like I've got a YouTube corner over here and sort of professional over there. So yeah, I think personally, everyone is each their own, and that's what makes YouTube so good. Everyone's different. So sometimes you go, actually, that wall of PS2 games looks incredible, even though it's like, you know, all the FIFAs, and nothing against people who pick up FIFAs, but that you can pick up. It's the same game every year, isn't it? Yeah, I mean,
that's nice. So you're sort of saying build your collection with stuff that makes you happy and stuff that sort of appeals to you and is always gonna have memories for you rather than
Exactly, and I think that's what YouTube's great for. It's so nostalgic, and you know what? Like I shared a Mille Miglia game, which was the racing game. It looks a bit like Gran Turismo, and someone put on there. Someone put a comment on. I only saw it on my phone, so I didn't see the user. So I never knew this game existed and stuff. Well, personally, I never knew that game existed, but it was one that it really appealed to me, so I wanted to put it on. So I put it on for PlayStation Month and finally managed to get it uploaded. And it was really good, but it's a game I've always liked the look of, so I've kept it. And now I'm going to look at that and think, actually, it's a really decent game. I really like that. And that's, it's if that game wasn't any good. So perfect example, I got this in the pickup video, and this is in the eBay pile. So I got Hang Time, which is basically like NBA Jam, and I thought this looks really, really good. But it is NBA Jam, and I really love NBA Jam, so I've got NBA Jam. I don't need. This is really expensive, this game, and it's like it's not as good as NBA Jam. NBA Jam gives me more enjoyment than that, so I thought, well, I don't need that, so I moved it on. It's moving it on. So yeah, I'd say probably build it around your interests and sort of don't just think, oh, I've got to get loads of shelf space, otherwise it's not worth doing. Because I guarantee you, if you fill it with stuff that you've got no interest in. My personal experience was Tiger Electronics. Remember the little handheld things I bought before the watch fell off, which I'm actually going to pick up now. Before the watch fell off. So that was my school watch when I was a kid. So like things like that, I just see and I remember, and I think, wow, I remember that being in the lunch queue and stuff at school, like playing on it and stuff. I'm smiling when I say it, and that's the beauty with this space. It's never coming into space. It's because the way it's been built and the collection I've now got, I never come in here and feel like, oh God, it's going to be such a, because sometimes you could be on the phone to someone and just put a game off the shelf and start reading it whilst you're chatting, and you're instantly transported back there. But that wouldn't be the same if I pulled off Mirror's Edge, pulled off this game off the shelf, because I've got no interest in it. I'm never going to play it, and I don't need to store it because I'm never going to play it. So, so in a roundabout way, I'm trying to say that build a collection that you want, not that just to hoard lots of games and things and systems.
If you've got space,
it's so easily done.
Yeah, it's if you've got the extra space, then just leave it as extra space, and you'll eventually fill it with stuff that you love. So yeah,
and there's so many good emulators out there now as well. Not that I really use them. I mean, I've got all the minis and they barely ever get used. It's like, so you can download, if you want to try all these games rather than owning physical copies, just, play them online or something. Well, you can see all of the hardware and stuff I've got, I'm very much like, it has to be the actual thing. But, each their own. People play downloads all the time and emulators and, it's the way of the world, isn't it, I suppose? So it's, each their own.
Yeah, most definitely. It's nice to sort of try games you're not really sure about getting a physical copy of first on digital. It's obviously going to be free or very cheap to do.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but again, YouTube, you've got gameplays. Everyone puts stuff up. So if you like the look at something, pick it up, and that's usually what I do. If I don't like it, I just sell it on. Otherwise, I'll try and find a space. So
yeah. Cool. So thanks for answering all those questions, mate. So
no problem.
The final bit from myself will just be me talking about my favourite bit of your room from what you sent to me pre-meeting, and for me it's just there's kind of two things. So I've touched on it already, but the fact that your whole sort of game corner goes floor to ceiling is really, really cool, I think. And I want to also notice that we've got a common interest because like you say, the people don't see it in your videos, but you've got a Wayne Gretzky poster, and you must be into your NHL.
Yeah, I played ice and roller hockey for about 15 years. 10 years, something like that. So I'm a big Ottawa Senators fan. I don't actually have any Ottawa Senators stuff to hand, but yeah, I'm a big Ottawa Senators fan. And that again comes in with the Wi-Fi, because trying to watch the catch-up games on the NHL network, it was like cringe-worthy sitting there, and it would have to buffer every 5 minutes. Now it's hardwired. I can watch. Not that the Senators ever qualified for the playoffs; they're out now. But yeah, I'm a big sort of ice hockey fan. So
Awesome.
yeah,
My wife, before she went on maternity, she plays amateur for Swindon.
oh wow, excellent!
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
I played with Gosport for a little while. That's nowhere near near Swindon standard. But are they the Wildcats? Swindon Wildcats?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I know of them. Yeah, it's I seem to recall your rink as well. It's like Gosport where I played. It was basically a swimming pool. It was so bad you fell over and your jersey soaked up half the water. But
Do you know? I think I might have actually been to Gosport to watch my wife play.
Oh, well, you were in for a treat, Dale. That's what I'm saying.
I remember it being very small, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's what position did she play?
She plays forward.
Forward. Is she a power forward or a skill forward?
I couldn't tell you. All I know is when I took her to a tournament, and I think it was Milton Keynes a few years ago, she scored the opening goal in the final, and I was like, what?
Nice.
But it's all like amateur stuff. It's all people who are sort of semi-retired from the same sort of level as Swindon Wildcats, or people like me and you that just like ice hockey sort of thing.
Yeah. I've got my gloves up here, so I don't get a lot of use nowadays. But my skates and sticks are out in the shed. But I commonly go skating with my daughter. Well, I skate and push her on her bike. But yeah, so these are very dusty. They've not been used in a long time. But yeah, these are the gloves. So although they're pretty new, because my last ones I had to throw away because I burnt a hole in the pit of them. So but yeah, that's quite an expensive hobby as well, I will say. You snap a stick and that's sort of like 80 to 100 quid minimum trying to buy a new stick. So yeah, it's a very, very expensive sport. But yeah, I suppose that has to be done. But do you follow a team?
We just go and watch Swindon occasionally, but we've been to watch the Cardiff Devils a few times as well.
Yeah,
it was really, really good to watch.
They actually do it really well, Cardiff Devils. It's a proper experience, isn't it? It's,
yeah.
Definitely
the one place I would sort of recommend if you're not sort of into it. But on the going back to, this is the games channel, isn't it? Going back to the game side of things, like NHL Hits on, I think that's the PS2 and GameCube era. I think I just absolutely love those games.
Oh man, that is a brilliant game. There's another game as well actually that I saw when I was sorting this. I think it's called NHL Rocks the Rink. I did see it the other day.
Any sort of like FIFA style NHL games like NHL 99, 98, whatever, the ones like Hits and the ones you mentioned, they always seem to be amazingly fun to play, and they've always got co-op as well, which is even better.
Yes, definitely. And that's the thing. I think it's the co-op version, because you can usually play 5 or 6 different people playing. But that's my favourite ever ice hockey game, the Fox Sport.
Oh yeah,
I've done a review of that on my channel. It's just that just screams nostalgia for me. That game. That's my favourite over all the NHL games, the EA ones. It's just the commentary's spot on. The gameplay's good, and it's brilliant multiplayer. It's just so fun to play.
Does it have Street Fighter style fights?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, there's combination moves you can do. So yeah, it's like, not fireballs and stuff, but yeah, because that's what Hits was great for, wasn't it? So yeah, Hits was pretty special. But there was another game called NHL Rocks the Rink, and I think I must have moved it to the back. But yeah, that's pretty decent. And it's really over the top. It's like, super hits, like really charging at people and stuff like that. So I'd recommend that. Definitely.
I just love these ice hockey games that don't have penalties, because when you're playing like an official game, you get so many penalties. You just get
I know.
I just want to smash someone into the glass and have a fight.
Dale, it sounds like you're hiding a lot of things on your channel. You don't come across as this sort of person, but go and watch ice hockey and you're sort of bottling someone or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, everyone has their own sort of niche to get the pressure off, don't they, and things. So who knew it that Daily Retro goes out and starts fights at ice hockey games.
Chancing fight, yeah.
Yeah. With face, I bet you're fully face painted as well, Dale.
No, I'm not that bad.
With one of those little pendants.
Awesome. So that's the end of the episode, guys. Hope you've enjoyed watching. Thanks very much to Sean for coming on the show today.
Yeah, really enjoyed it, Dale. Thanks for inviting me, mate.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. So I'm going to chat to Sean afterwards, but if you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like and comment below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers.